Did you want to give us an update at all?
I'd love to address it.
Okay.
I will tell you that at the end of the last time I saw you gentlemen, I had to leave the meeting because I was thoroughly confused as to what direction we were going in. And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the minutes from what I missed. And it says right here that Fred Collins spoke concerning the proposed museum going down in his neighborhood, and that he has discussed the project with the neighbors down there and they're not in favor of the project. So I find that very interesting, being that I'm about to lose part of the museum, which was part of the compromise of the arts and the museum in the pilot house. And Franklin Commons neighborhood, which surrounds it, had stepped up to the plate so that they would help oversee, and they would also work diligently to make this project happen. So I'm not really sure what did happen, except that I would say the newspaper was pretty accurate. In my opinion, the Redevelopment Commission had entered into an agreement with the Greater Clark County Schools, and it was for a 3-year deal, $15,000 each year. And I had been told that it wasn't much money, so that at any point, this Redevelopment Commission could go ahead and pay Greater Clark County Schools. But whether or not they do or not, the $15,000 has been budgeted for the children in the next 2 years at the school corporation. Now, it's up in the air whether or not the museum is still coming. It's up in the air whether the arts component is coming. And it's up in the air whether the community center is coming. So I really don't know what to say.
Well, let me chime in. I was coming to these meetings last fall when that was voted on, and I felt like Don Struck was kind of brought into this late, and the agreement that was reached last fall was there was a reason why there was 3 different years for it to be paid. Mm-hmm. And this commission was told that the pilot house would come up with a business plan and the funding to fix the pilot house. When Ms. Struck came and spoke, she came in and said, hey, we need a new roof. Are you all going to come through with this or not? And I think it caught some of the new board members a little off guard, because that's not what was voted on last fall. Last fall, this board voted to pay 3 different payments of $15,000 if the fundraising was met and if a business plan was brought forward. Has this board ever gotten a business plan presented to it?
My understanding, the reason it has not, it's kind of like the special sauce recipe at McDonald's maybe. We had another entity speak at the Redevelopment Commission named Joyce Ribble. And Ms. Ribble has been trying to get her hands on that same business plan that I feel as board of directors and representing Greater Clark County Schools has been written. I was in several conversations with Ms. Ribble and Don Struck that there is a business plan, and she could quote many aspects of it. In order to turn over the business plan to this commission, Ms. Struck felt that she needed some assurance from the Redevelopment Commission to enter into some form of a lease so that we could go ahead with the 501c3, which a very powerful person was helping us, and I don't want to drop names here, but that part of the problem was until the pilot house had some form of a lease with the Redevelopment Commission, we couldn't go out and obtain funds. Now, that's what was told to me, and I do know that we do not have any kind of lease. And since this whole project began, what has come to the forefront and what I've learned is that Jacob's Well in Utica, same scenario. The Greater Clark County Schools 25 or something years ago gave back that school to the township of Utica. In the 25 years, it ended up kicking back to Greater Clark County Schools because there was a caveat in there that if it wasn't used for parks and recreation, Greater Clark would retain the option of what to do with it. In working through it with the trustees in the town of Utica, what the trustee did was offered a deal to Jacob's Well for 10 years, 5-year option at $1 a year with the 5 years. So for 15 years, Jacob's Well could go out, and they've raised $350,000 in 1 year, and felt quite certain that with an extension to that contract, they could raise more. So I do know the town of Utica felt that they could do something, and I truly believe the city of Jeffersonville could, in my opinion, probably do even more. Now,
This commission would love to see an art studio. This commission would love to see a Clark County museum. But this commission cannot fund a $2 million renovation.
it really isn't, sir. I went back through my records and I shared them with the president of the commission. When this was first talked about, $600,000 tops would have done that building.
Okay, but this commission is waiting for that money to be raised, and what, I don't understand this.
Apparently with the
What
501c.
obligation have they not met?
We don't have a lease agreement, and.
That's not what they agreed to.
Well, yeah, that was part of the plan.
That's, I mean, from a legal standpoint, the interlocal agreement is basically the school corporation selling this property to the redevelopment commission, basically by contract over a 3-year period for $45,000. And at the end of that 3-year period, the redevelopment commission would own the property. There's no mention in that interlocal agreement, and I wasn't here, I don't know what the intentions were at that time, but there's nothing in that agreement that mentioned anything about a lease. It does mention, however, that the redevelopment commission would require proof that a 501c3 status has been attained, and then secondly, also a business plan can be submitted to the redevelopment commission as well.
That was when Ms. Struck was here the last time, and she addressed this board.
Yeah.
And we were asking for a lease at that point,
But-
so that we could go on with the 501c3.
But the agreement that the redevelopment commission has with the school corporation mentions nothing about a lease arrangement. Technically, the redevelopment commission would not own the property even to enter into a lease agreement until it makes that final payment of $15,000, which is not due for another 2 years. And then also under that interlocal agreement, it states that if a 501c3 status is not obtained and the business plan is not presented, that the redevelopment commission, at its option, I mean, it doesn't have to, but at its option, can still get out of that interlocal agreement. So I'm just speaking as to what the agreement says, what the intent was, or what discussions were made at the time that it was
Would you like to see the
prepared.
intent from Dr. Stephen Datcher addressed to the board? I
That's
presented
not the
all
board's
this.
intent. Becky, I think it's important to know that the Clark County Museum came to me, came to us.
And I came to you after that. We had a director's meeting where Jean Burke assured the board of directors that she wasn't going anywhere. I'm not gonna fight about it,
Well,
gentlemen.
I'm not either, but Jeannie
You know,
Burke.
I got a letter from a mayor that was the mayor-elect. I've got letters from the Arts Council of Southern Indiana. I've got letters of endorsements from Jeff Main Street. I've got letters of endorsements from Southern Indiana Landmarks. And this commission, 2 of the 3 members sitting here agreed, and all of a sudden, we were this close, they were gonna put a roof on the building, and now we're not.
No, Jeannie Burke and the Clark County Museum walked away from the pilot house deal. They came to this board asking, hey, how about that house
I
down there?
heard that, and someone didn't even have the courtesy to give me a heads up when the board of directors met, and there's your board of directors. And all of the information that I've worked on for 2 years, I just don't know what's going on.
Okay, but your beef isn't with me, it's the county museum.
No, but
The
in all
county
fairness,
museum
sir,
asked, what are you gonna do
I
with
couldn't have
this
gotten the
property?
deal
We
with
would
Greater
love to
Clark
go in.
without your help, and you knew that.
And I helped all I
And the
could.
redevelopment commission, we couldn't have gone further without them encouraging and supporting the project. And for whatever the reason now, the project may or may not go down the 700 block
I
of Michigan Avenue.
was all in favor of this board putting up $45,000 if the county museum and the art school would raise the revenue to fix up that building.
And with the
County Museum
501c3,
came to me a
I
couple of
understand
months
that.
ago and said, that deal is dead. It's not gonna happen. We want out. They were first, they asked me about the building over here off of 10th Street, or off of 10th and Spring, but they said it wasn't quite big enough. Then they saw the notice that the building, the 2 buildings over here on the street behind the old used car bales was for sale, was gonna get torn down. They came to us and they said, will you show it to us?
And I would still tell you the project will be successful without the Clark County Museum.
I hope it is. I'd love to see that building saved, but I don't think it's this board's responsibility to fund putting on a new roof, putting in new windows. That's not what the agreement was last month.
Would they honor the agreement to Greater Clark County Schools and continue paying the $15,000?
Well, what
you
we
have an
still need is
alternative?
actually a business plan. So if you have somebody else involved that wants to go in the building, then you need to get it together for us so we can take a look at it.
We actually showed that building the other day, trying to put a tenant in there. So,
Well, see, then you must really truly believe it's your building to do so.
no,
In all
because I'm
fairness, you
telling
really
them, you
must.
gotta buy it from the school
That's when I
corporation.
spoke with Marty Bell, who instigated this deal for Greater Clark County Schools, which is the Redevelopment Commission's help.
I
He said to
was,
show this document that you helped us write and to strongly suggest that he doesn't understand where the deal went wrong. And this was a Friday afternoon conversation.
we're still waiting for the business plan, we're still waiting for the money that was gonna be raised. That, it was left
Well,
in the
in
hands, it
fairness,
was left into the
The
hands.
museum did go on and collect their monies. I mean, they got $75,000. What I didn't see was the culmination of that money going towards the pilot house. The museum retained that money, is my understanding.
I have no idea. about
They got
that.
some from Jeff
But-
Park Preservation.
But that's what this board said, we'll buy it, you all fix it up and show us the business plan. We're still waiting for the business plan and we're still waiting to see, do you all raise your money?
My understanding is they can't do a 501c3 without the lease.
Without the lease, and that's what was
And
stated to
This
this
board
commission.
wouldn't own it until the end of 3 years.
Beg your pardon?
This board would not own it, according to our attorney,
But
until
according
after.
to Greater Clark County Schools, you already do, you made the payment.
Well, here's my attorney, who
Needs to
I'm
talk
gonna
to
take my
some
legal
witness.
advice from. And I got another attorney down here, Jack, what's your feeling?
School owns the building.
Okay, there's two
School can,
attorneys.
school can cut a deal with the pilot housing group and let it go, renovate it, make it an arts. It's not, the city doesn't hold the school back, letting it happen.
Well, that's fine, as I said, I just wasted 2 years, and some of the other folks in this room wasted a whole lot longer in believing that we were going to do something with her, so. With everybody, all due respect, that's the only reason that I'm here this evening, was to try to pull something back when even the redevelopment, what's your title, sir? He's the president, you're the director, comes into my business location and said the deal wasn't over, and we could still work through this.
Well, I went in there to see exactly what was going
I was
on.
pretty candid
because-
with you.
Yeah, because what I told you is I haven't heard anything at all. I haven't seen a business plan.
But you've been
And-
talking to Jeannie Burke, who was part of this program to get her in a different location.
I did talk with her, and we actually showed her the building after that they
Well, if
said
you're gonna
they
give
were-
somebody a building, why don't you give the Greater Clark County Schools that building, you know, with the pilot house? I mean, why couldn't you work at the interlocal agreement? I don't get politics. I do understand that a lot of people believed in a project that they no longer believe in, and I can't fix that. But I was here to try.
I understand that,
Well, then
but
we
it's
can move on.
unfortunate.
Let's move on, but Beck, I will promise you that I will sit down and talk to Rob and Mike and see if we can work
Well,
something out.
in all, with all due respect, the conversations and the ones that's been going on is the reason that the deal was falling apart. A lot of politics have been involved, and with all due respect, sir, I'm running for re-election, I've got a business to run, and if you all choose to work for Greater Clark County Schools,
We're 12 months away from this first coming up for a vote, and yet there's still not been a business plan presented. Shouldn't we be asking the question, how come that business plan never got presented?
Ms. Struck is under the impression that the deal stopped when we didn't get a lease agreement, so we could not go out and raise additional funds. All the funds and all the work that you've seen up to this point, she has done out of her pocket, or the students, or the family, and Ms. Parrish in the back shaking her head, she's one of them. The community was very active. I do not understand why.
I think it's a great idea, and it would be fantastic if it worked out. Unfortunately, the parties, there was two different things, there was two different parties. I think this board met its agreement, and I think we're still waiting for the other side to meet their agreements.
Then it's fine. It's not worth arguing about. Just out of curiosity, how much is your new bathroom going to cost for the park?
Oh, I have no idea.
About 50,000.
About what?
The new bathroom,
What do you mean?
the one that you want at your park. At Duffy's Landing,
Duffy's Landing.
If I'm not mistaken, to make it handicap accessible, 36,000.
36,000. It's hard. I'm just kidding.
If it wasn't handicap accessible, it'd be about 18,000.
But thank you for the opportunity.
I appreciate your heart and fun.
Okay, next is